Prepper. Alright, like I've said, I'm back again. This is part 3 of the City Survival series. Alright, this is going to be a pretty long one because I got a lot of stuff to cover I want to show you. Alright, so just to recap, you had your plan in part 1. I showed you how to do your plan, how to get your family together. And part 2, I showed you how to get some other stuff together, the swimming pool and all that, right? But we're going to move on to part 3 now, right? And part 3 is what I'm going to do in the worst case scenario is once I got my family together, once I got my certain other things put together here, right? And like going out to all the stores, right? Listen, very important about, like I told you to go to the little mom and pop stores. And I'm going to show you, watch a little because there's going to be some videos. I went to a couple of hardware stores. But, I went to the little 99-cent stores. I bought a couple of little things, right? I bought these little lights. They're not that good, but they're going to serve a purpose, But they were $1.99 for 2, right? I bought 2 packs of them, right? Little emergency light. You clip it on anywhere if you need some light, right? I bought this little teapot, which is really cool. It was cheap. This was $3.99. I know you're saying you probably can find a lot of these stuff in garage sales and everything, but that's not the point. The point is here, you gotta try to support your local small mom and pop stores. You gotta support these stores, right? Even if you gotta pay a little bit more. I know, things are tight and everything, but you can squeeze out a couple extra pennies to buy this in a mom and pop store instead of a Walmart or somewhere else, because the main reason, and I say this with a little anger in my voice, is because the big stores, right, these big government-run stores are going to close their gate on your face once the power goes off, all right? So take that in mind. So every time you see a little mom and pop store close, that's another store that's going to close down, right, because of these big giants that are going to slam the door in your face. The mom and pop store, this guy's going to stay open, right? So support your mom and pop stores, please, I beg you, right? Even if you got to pay a little extra sometime, just show support, because when the shit hits the fan, these people are going to be there for us. So let's be there for them. All right, so I took the snark out and I went to a couple of little stores. I show you what I found inside them. Take a look. All right, guys, it's Brooklyn Prepper. I'm on the road right now, and my main goal right now is do some undercover work to see if those little mom and pop stores are going to be open during a blackout or a bad situation. All right, so I take you for a ride. We'll go see what's in those little stores. All right. It's a beautiful day here in Brooklyn. All right, got the snark out, doing my little undercover work. Be back in a minute with some stores. Let's try to imagine some of the stuff you could do with this stuff. Strainers. I'm gonna buy that one. This one's mine. Garbage cans. Plates. Well, you never know, you might need them. But interesting. You know, a lot of these little pots and pans look all stainless steel. Not really tough stuff, but great to cook in. Saws, air pumps, great, very important. Gloves, little tools. Whoop. Pull that, please. All right, here we go. All right. Local, like mom and pop stores, and the film that I'm doing is about if there's a crisis in New York City where there's a blackout or there's some situation that happens, right? Would your store remain open for people to come buy batteries and supplies if they need to? Say if there was a power outage, all the lights went out. Would you keep your store open during the day for business, where people could come and buy stuff?
We will.
You would?
Yeah, because the community is store.
The community, yeah, exactly.
It's a family store.
See, that's what I'm trying to get across. I'm trying to show people that the smaller stores, to support the smaller stores, right, is better than the big stores, because during a blackout, Home Depot, all those stores, boom.
We did it once, the last blackout.
On 2003, right?
Not here, but I used to work with also family-owned business.
Yeah.
And then we open.
Yeah.
And we give the service.
Yeah. Would you mind if I film like certain things you have in the store, just a little bit?
Yeah.
Like your jars you use. You got canning jars.
Which company?
This is an independent film. Independent film. It's Brooklyn Prepper. All right, guys, how you doing? This is Brooklyn Prepper. I'm at CNS Family Hardware. Right, and I spoke to the gentleman, and he assures us during certain situations, blackouts, emergency situations, his doors would be open to serve the public, which is very nice to hear. So let me give you a little tour around his store, see what he has to offer. What I seen interesting here, so right here, he has ball jars for canning, which is really good to know. You know, I think I'm going to buy some before I leave. Tell you the truth, right? Lots of stuff here. You know, mops, buckets. Look, he has buckets. Everything you're gonna need. So it goes to show you, the smaller stores will serve the public well, the bigger franchises will not. Locks, bolts. These are great. Garden supplies, shovels, And everybody, saws, cutting wood, hammers. This place is well stocked. This is definitely a nice place to go to. So anybody in the local area, down the Park Slope, Bay Ridge, Brooklyn, right? Check this place out. Come by, give them some business. Nice people. Here, you got a grill. Plenty of charcoal. Right, these are the stuff you want to go after in the beginning. Planting materials, plots, flower pots. I guarantee they have, yep, here we go. We got seeds, you got vegetable seeds, everything. Cleaning supplies, Clorox bleach, sterilize your water. Wow, this place is a mega. Look at rope, heavy duty rope. I could stand all day in this store. This guy has everything. Oh, look at this. Sprays. Coolers. Locks. Very important lighting systems. Flashlights. Anything you want, Velcro, this guy got everything. It was a nice day for a ride, I tell you that. My coffee. I love my midday coffee. It's about 6 o'clock. It's my favorite coffee of the day. I got a little bagel store off the block. It makes damn good coffee. I always need my caffeine. Alright, so you see these little shops, they do have a lot to offer you. Alright, so what I like to do is to move on to some other things, right? What I have here behind me is a bunch of stuff, and I like to go through step by step what each one of them does, because now in part 3 of my plan is start pulling all my stuff out that I'm going to need, right? To start getting it all ready to set up in my house, right? And believe me, I promise you, as soon as I get time, I'm going to have all this all set up, and I'm going to show you the framework of how I set it up in my house. You know, I just got to, you know, I was going to hook the Yukon stove up and get it fired up. My wife turns around to me, she goes, "You're not doing that here in Brooklyn, right?" And I turned around and said, "Woman, I'm a prepper, I'll do what I want." And she looked at me again, and I decided not to do it. Alright, and that was that. Alright, besides, it was chicken cutlet night, and I didn't want a chicken cutlet parmesan night, and I wasn't missing out on parmesan, right, just so I could light my stove. Alright, but let me show you a bunch of stuff I got here, and I show you what I do with it, okay? Be back in a sec. Guys, the first thing I'm going to show you, this is a Yukon stove, right, and it's military grade stove. It comes with your oven, and, right, you've got all the parts for the chimney you're going to need, right, to set it all up, right. I got some metal tape in there, right, and also comes with all the attachments if you want to use gas or propane or anything like that, right. But Yankee Prepper, he does a video on the Yukon stove, and I'm really sure it's in his Urban Survival series, part 3, right? I got it in my favorites on my channel, so I'm really not going to go too much into the Yukon stove, because he makes an excellent video how you could use this in an urban environment, and that's the same way he showed how to use it in the urban environment the way I'm going to do it. That's where I got the idea. I got the idea from him. Alright, so watch his part 3 of that series. I have it in my favorite on my channel. So just go through my favorites, and you see it, click on it, and he'll show you the whole thing set up and running beautiful, okay? Right, so that's the Yukon stove. This stove is what's going to supply me with heat in my apartment here in the city, right? Like Yankee does, I'm going to route my pipe right out the window, and I'm going to have plenty of heat with this sucker. Not only that, you're going to have heat, right? You also can, this gets extremely hot. You can boil water on top of these suckers, right? And they burn beautiful, okay? So, like I said, I just advise you to watch that Yankee Prepper video on the Yukon stove. You won't be disappointed. He really does a great job on that video. But that's the Yukon stove. And that's one of the things I just pulled out of my closet. When the shit hits the fan, this is one of the things that is going to come out first. Right? I either could cook on it, or during the winter time, if it's cold outside, you can heat a nice sized room with this thing. Okay? And I'm going to get into room sizes later on in the series of, you know, you're not going to use your whole house in a bad situation. You're going to quarantine yourself to a couple of rooms to conserve energy and everything else. Alright, so that's the Yukon stove. Check it out. A great buy. You could buy them on the internet and everything else. Good stuff. I'm going to go into the cooking stuff first. I make a series. If you guys are new to my channel, this is a wood gas stove, right? These things are excellent. All you have to do is put little pieces of wood in there, right? A handful of wood, and this wood burns so great by the design how this thing is made, right? I make a 3-part series that shows you step by step how to make these. But this is another good thing when you want to cook on top of these, right? You use a bigger pot, right? But another great item to learn how to cook, right? You got the bolts and everything. Watch that little video I put out. It's 3 parts, step by step how to make a wood gas stove. A little handful of wood, right? You could cook a whole meal. I cooked a whole meal on this thing, right? Hey, you know what's funny? Hold on a second. That's the original one I made in the series, right? Remember that? The little zombie and the minnow on there? I just wanted to show you. Don't leave them out in the rain. They get rusty, but they still work, all right? Anyway, watch that series I put up, and this is one of you want to have a couple of these made. They're really, you could cook on these, and they're gonna get you out of a bind when you got to boil water and everything, right? So you just could use little bits of wood. All right. Let me just show you something else that helps you out with your fire. I want to touch upon this little thing, right? And excuse me if I'm going a little fast, but you know, I got a lot of information here. This is a Duraflame. You know, on the internet, you preppers out there, you don't give no respect to the Duraflame. You got to show the Duraflame some love. That's right, Duraflame. We don't like you. You're too simple to use. Thumbs down, man. Thumbs down to you, Duraflame. You're just a synthetic log dipped in slow-burning fluid, man. You're just too simple to use, man. Thumbs down to you. We don't like you. Thumbs down, man. We don't like you. Alright guys, you gotta show the Duraflame some love, right? What's good about the Duraflame? I got 4 cases of these logs. What's good about them, right? Everybody have seen these. If you know, you ever had a romantic night in like a cheesy hotel that had a little fireplace, they always give you one of these. Alright, anyway, but you could scrape this with a knife and make little bits of it. Just scrape it along with your knife, right? And you could take those little pieces of the Duralog, or the Duraflame that is, Mr. Duraflame, right? And you could throw it in your wood gas stove or your Yukon oven, right? Just to get your fire started really quick. So, you know I never see anybody talking about them. I always wondered why. Maybe somebody has, but I show a lot of love to it, all right? But it's definitely a good fire starter, and it's definitely will help you. And one of these logs, believe me, you shave it up, right? You're gonna get a lot of little fire starter out of this one log. All right, take my advice on that one. Stock up, buy a couple of cases. They ain't that much money. All right. Okay, we're gonna move. Let's close that. We're gonna move along. Okay, I'm gonna stay on the subject of cooking and heating right now. All right. So I showed you the wood gas stove. Look at the 3-part series on that. I showed you the Yukon stove. Watch Yankee's video on that. It's excellent. Let's move on to this other thing. Alright guys, I just bought another one of these. This is the Coleman dual fuel model, right? It's got 2 burners in it, right? You could, you know, this whole tank goes inside, it stores away, it has a handle, it's like a little suitcase, right? I tell you one thing, I have an older one just like this one, and I used it 4 billion times, right, on camping trips and everything else. These things are great, a great little item to have, right, in your little blah, 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 in your little oh man, in your little wall chest, right? Your supply cabinet, right, for the end of the world. I just couldn't think of anything to say. All right, so in other words, these things are great. I tell you why. You just don't want to buy the regular ones that only work on white gas. This is dual fuel. You could put regular gasoline in this sucker, right? And it would run on regular gasoline. So in a bad situation, there's going to be a lot of cars laying around, and there's going to be plenty of gas in the city that you can siphon and find. So you can always crank these babies up. You know, if you never use one of these, it's a camping stuff, right? So you just pump them up. It puts air in there, right? And they're great. They're great little items, right? You turn them on. You get your valves ready. There it goes. They work great, right? And you got your external valve here that you can turn on also. Look at it. You get a nice little flame out of that. Once it starts cooking up, I gotta wait 1 minute. You turn this thing down, and it purrs like a kitten, right? A great item. Definitely, if you're not gonna get a lot of stuff, this is something you invest. It was $88. I found it out Walmart, right? There you go. Look at this. You can't beat that. You can't beat this stove, right? And like I said, dual fuel. You want to do fuel because you could use the white gas on this, or you could use regular gasoline from the car and fill this container up, and you're good to go. All right, guys, so that's where you go. You got the nice Coleman dual fuel, right? Believe me, these are a good investment. Comes a little funnel that you can use. Comes with your instruction manual. For 88 bucks, this thing could be a lifesaver. All right, you can use your cheap little 99-cent pot to boil stuff, right? And that's it. All right, let's get off this subject. Remember, the Coleman dual fuel. Dual fuel. A lot of them just use one type of fuel. Those other gas ones, you know, those ones you got to put those little gas cylinders in. How many of those gas cylinders you can really have? This you can keep on using and using because you can pump them up. All right, so take my advice on this. This is the way I like to go. Okay, guys, like I showed you, these are just a couple of different ways where you can actually cook, boil water, like, you know, when you're confined in your house, right? But on a serious note, you're going to be using a lot of different flames and materials and everything like that, right? I can't emphasize this enough. Have fire extinguishers, right? You don't want a fire killing you as you're trying to survive an SHTF situation. You understand? So I got 4 of these, right? Showing these 2 I have. I like the small ones because if I use it, I can just bang out a fire with it. But you buy 4 of these. Online, you can find them for, I think, $19.99 each, right? So if you think about it, right, for 80 bucks, that can save your life. Hey, if the things ever got really bad, somebody throws something through your window, tries to set your house on fire, you can battle that too, right? So in a way, these are just important as a rifle, right? You got to be able to battle fire and the zombies, all right? So you got these. Make sure, please, get yourself fire extinguishers, all right? Very important. And like what I said in one of my other videos, I think the name of the video was Overlooked Preps, right? Battery operated common monoxide detectors. I'm saying it one more time. Battery operated common monoxide detectors, because when you're using all this camping stuff and all these unconventional ways of heating and cooking, common monoxide can kill you, right? And you don't want to be an idiot and die like that, believe me, right? That's no good way of going out. You want to go out with a fight. Right? So buy the battery operated common monoxide, buy extra batteries for it, look at my video, put them in some vacuum sealed bag or put them in a box. Make sure you have extra batteries for it, because when you start breaking all this stuff out, you have no power to your house and your common monoxide detectors that run off the hot wire in your house, you want battery operated ones, and then you're going to put those all over where you're using this stuff. Okay, so at least you can get a warning if your house is getting filled up with common monoxide. All right, So that's another thing for you. What I want to show you guys too, and I just got one of these because I just said to myself, well, you know, I'm in an apartment, I'm on the top floor, and if a fire breaks out in the front of my house, or I can't get out the front door, or if the zombies are attacking and they're getting into my house, right? A piece of equipment you might want to own if you can't jump out your window. If you're a little couple of stories high, or something, there's a piece of equipment you're going to own. This is a kitty ladder, right? What it does, you deploy this thing out your window. This thing locks onto your windowsill. I'll give you a shot of it. I just got to get it out of there. This thing locks onto your windowsill with these two arms right here. Locks onto your windowsill, and then you just pull this latch off here. You rip this off. Let me show you. You rip this latch off, and this ladder drops, right? And it has these little planks on the side here, so they rest against your house, so you can stick your foot in there, right? And you hold on to the ropes on the side. But really, guys, this is a great thing to have in your house, especially if you got it like deployed out of a back window, or you just got to get out course of a fire. Hey, even in normal situations, if you're living 2 stories high, you should have one of these in your closet. God forbid, you never know. You can't get to the window that has the fire escape, you can't get out your doorway. You can have this, grab this sucker and put it on your windowsill and you're free. Alright, so that's the kitty ladder. I found it on the internet, right? And I believe I overpaid for this. I tell you the truth, I really did. I found it on this website. I think I paid 70 bucks for it, right? But I seen it on Amazon for 49 something. So look at it. This is the 2-story, 13 feet model. They even have longer ones. You know, they even have, I think they go up to, I don't know, 16 feet. They even have ones that are longer. So it's really customized to your environment. But a great idea to have in the house. Think about all the advantages you can have by being able to get out of the situation you're in by any window you want with this little drop ladder. And look at that. It's not heavy, right? You can deploy it in a minute, right? You grab this thing up and that whole ladder drops right down, right? Get you out of harm's way in a heartbeat. Alright? So that's what we got there. I'll be right back. Okay guys, that's part 3, right? I hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun doing it. Right? I'm just going to give you one little tidbit. Tactical birdhouses. You say in Brooklyn you're out of your mind now. You train birds. You know, the bird goes in here, you train them to attack people. Now, what they're good for, maybe not in the city, but in the rural and urban areas where you can put these outside. Right? What's good about them, you can hide stuff in them. Probably bigger than this. You can hide cash, you can hide guns, you can hide knives, you can hide anything you want to hide in the little birdhouse. Right? You're not going to hide it now when nothing's going on, but it's a good thing to have because in an emergency situation, if you do get bullied out of your house and you had to leave real quick and you couldn't grab any of your tools, as they will call them, right? You can have one up in a tree and you can come back and seek revenge. Alright? So remember, little tidbit, tactical birdhouse. Train the birds to kill people. Alright? Alright guys, so that's part 3 for you, and just a quick recap. You got all your stuff, right? All the stuff I store away, right? Yukon stove, definitely look up that. Door logs, door flames, give them love. The quick deployment ladder, so you can get out of your house in any kind of emergency. You should have them now anyway, especially if you have kids, right? You know, wood gas stove. Watch my 3-part series how to make these. They're really simple and they're excellent, right? The Coleman dual flame, right? Fire extinguishers, right? And most important, like I said, support your little stores. Support your mom and pop stores. Don't let these big giants knock them out of business, because we're going to need them, believe me. All right, what else did I have? That's it. That's about it. Hey, one thing. These new mag lights with the LCD in them, I mean, they kick ass. I'm telling you that. They're bright. All right, so another thing for you. All right, so live for today, prep for tomorrow. I see you for part 4.